It's time now for my top 10 NFL linebackers in the NFL right now. And this was a pretty hard list to make because there's so many guys who you could consider in the top 10. Guys like Thomas Davis, among others. There's a lot of guys on the outside looking in, but I feel like I've made a list that's good enough that you could that's good enough to call all these guys top 10. So let's get the list underway. At number 10, I have a guy who is a big part of the defense he's a part of. I have number 50 for the Chargers, for the Jaguars, Telvin Smith. What a botch. You know, he's a pretty big part of why the Jaguars defense is good and why it can be one of the best in the league. I think he does have the ability to climb up on this list. I think 10's a good spot. I could see him, if I were to redo this list, I could see him, coming back down here to 8. But I think 10's a good spot, and I think he can climb up this list. Now at number 9, I have one of the guys who was in a trade earlier this season. That is Chandler Jones. The Patriots got rid of a couple good linebackers. They got rid of a guy like Chandler Jones and Jamie Collins. And they both did very good for the teams they ended up going to. Chandler Jones just made that Cardinals defense, which is already good, even better. And I can see him climbing up this list, and once again, I could see him sliding and, leapfrogging a couple guys later on. Now at number 7, at number 8, I have a guy who has a great name for a middle linebacker, for an outside linebacker, and that's Whitney Merciless. Whitney Merciless has a great name, and he's a great outside linebacker. Another guy who's a big part of that Texans defense, a reason they are very good. I think 8 is a very good spot for him. I don't see him any higher. I don't see him any lower. I think 8 is a very good spot for a guy that's pretty good at what he does. You see here that he's getting after Sam Bradford. He's a good linebacker, a guy who I would like to have, if I would have, some of the best linebackers altogether. At number 7, I have another guy who was a part of some of the trades Patriots made. Jamie Collins. Jamie Collins did very well with the Browns, and that's something we don't hear a lot, but that's what we have here. He was even rewarded with a new contract. Jamie Collins has played well. He showed that he doesn't need the Patriots to be a very successful linebacker and to be a very good player. Now at number 6, I have a guy who is a young star, and it's Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr has become one of the best young linebackers in the league today. The 6 is a good spot. I think he's just a season or two away from being in the top 5. I think eventually, maybe even next year, he will sneak into the top 5. I strongly considered putting him in the top 5. I just didn't pull the trigger. I think that 6 is a good spot because this top 5 is very hard to crack, with the guys that I have here. Now at number 5, I have Levante David. I mentioned Gerald McCoy in my last video. Levante David is just as good. He's a big part of the Buccaneers defense. He's a big part of why that Buccaneers defense is going to be good, and he's a big part of why the Buccaneers in general are going to be good. I see big things because this team is becoming a playoff team, and I see big things for guys like Levante David and Gerald McCoy. Now at number 4, I have a guy who is a big part of the defense he's in as well, Melvin Ingram. Melvin Ingram is a great linebacker for the Chargers. You could almost call him the leader of the Chargers defense. He's very good, all around a good linebacker. He's a guy who was like, I need to have him in the top 5, and I think 4 is a good spot for him. I did consider moving him up, but I just didn't pull the trigger. Now at number 3, I have a guy who, once again, he's a part of a very good defense. And like I always say, if you're in a good defense, if you're on this list, there's a chance you're part of a good defense, and that is Tom Hawley for the Kansas City Chiefs. Hawley is a great outside linebacker, brings a lot of pressure, does a lot of good things for the Chiefs defense, is one of the reasons the Chiefs defense is very, very good. Three is a good spot for him. I did considering him pushing him up a bit back in that number 5, number 4, number 6 range, but I think 3 is a good spot for him. Now, in number 2, I have a guy who a couple years ago, you could have considered the best linebacker of the league, but now he's at number 2. It's Clay Matthews. Clay Matthews has been one of the best outside linebackers in the league for a while now. I did not put him at number 1 because of the guy who's there, but Clay Matthews is a great outside linebacker. It's a great linebacker to have, a guy who I would like having at outside linebacker myself. This guy is nasty, he's strong, and he just looks the part. He looks like a guy who could, kill you and stuff, That guy looks great as a linebacker. I can't see him, switching off spots with the guy I have at number 1, and then number 1, it's Von Miller. Von Miller, without a doubt, is the best outside linebacker in the league, and you can also make the case that he's the best overall linebacker in the league. We'll see about that when I come out with that inside linebacker video, but Von Miller is the best linebacker in the league. There's no doubt about it. He just brings an all-around, pass rush to the Broncos that makes it so great. Von Miller is the number 1 linebacker in the NFL right now.